What is Crowdstrike? Crowdstrike is a prominent cybersecurity technology company founded in 2011 by George Kurtz and Dmitry Alperovich. It specializes in providing endpoint security, threat intelligence, and cyber attack response services. Crowdstrike's Falcon platform leverages AI and machine learning to detect, prevent, and respond to cyber threats in real time. With a client base that spans various sectors, Crowdstrike has become a key player in the fight against cybercrime. Crowdstrike's primary role in cybersecurity is to protect organizations from a wide range of digital threats. The company's Falcon platform is designed to provide comprehensive endpoint protection by detecting and mitigating threats such as malware, ransomware, and advanced persistent threats. By utilizing cloud-based analytics and threat intelligence, Crowdstrike helps businesses prevent data breaches and minimize the impact of cyber attacks. Crowdstrike has collaborated with the FBI on several high-profile investigations. The company's expertise in digital forensics and threat intelligence has been instrumental in uncovering and analyzing cyber intrusions attributed to state-sponsored actors and criminal organizations. This partnership highlights Crowdstrike's pivotal role in national cybersecurity efforts and its contributions to law enforcement operations. Crowdstrike's connections to the CIA are rooted in its leadership and their prior affiliations. Dmitry Alperovich, one of the co-founders, has provided cybersecurity expertise to various government agencies, including the CIA. The company's technology and intelligence services have been utilized to enhance national security measures and protect critical infrastructure from cyber threats. Crowdstrike has established relationships with Israeli intelligence companies, leveraging their advanced cybersecurity technologies and expertise. These collaborations have strengthened Crowdstrike's threat detection capabilities and expanded its global threat intelligence network. The synergy between Crowdstrike and Israeli cybersecurity firms underscores the importance of international cooperation in combating cyber threats. Q connections to Crowdstrike. Crowdstrike's role in political events. Crowdstrike gained significant attention in 2016 when it was hired by the Democratic National Committee, DNC, to investigate a breach of their email systems. Crowdstrike attributed the hack to two Russian intelligence-affiliated groups, Cozy Bear and Fancy Bear. The company's findings were pivotal in shaping the narrative around Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Crowdstrike's report concluded that the cyber attacks were state-sponsored, which led to further investigations by U.S. intelligence agencies. In the lead-up to the 2020 U.S. presidential election, Crowdstrike continued to play a critical role in securing political organizations from cyber threats. The company provided cybersecurity services to various campaigns and political committees, ensuring the integrity of election-related data and communications. Crowdstrike's proactive measures aimed to prevent any repeat of the 2016 breaches and to protect the electoral process from foreign interference. Beyond its involvement in the DNC hack, Crowdstrike has been linked to several other high-profile cybersecurity incidents. The company's expertise has been called upon in cases involving major corporations and government agencies facing sophisticated cyber threats. Crowdstrike's threat intelligence and rapid response capabilities have been instrumental in mitigating the impact of these attacks and in attributing responsibility to state and non-state actors. Q drops and predictions. Q, widely regarded as a high-level insider, has posted numerous cryptic messages, known as Q drops, that have referenced Crowdstrike, suggesting a deep connection between the cybersecurity firm and alleged deep state activities. Here are some key Q drops and their implications. Drop number 33, November 1, 2017. Q references Snow White and Corona, indicating CIA programs and hinting that Crowdstrike is involved in shielding these activities. This drop sets the stage for understanding Crowdstrike's alleged deeper connections to intelligence operations. Drop number 37, November 2, 2017. Q discusses Crowdstrike's role in the DNC hack and its connection to the Russian collusion narrative. Q implies that CrowdStrike helped fabricate evidence to support the narrative of Russian interference in the 2016 US elections. Drop number 205, November 22, 2017. Q links CrowdStrike to the broader Russian hack narrative, suggesting that the firm played a role in creating false evidence. This drop is crucial in understanding the narrative that Q builds around CrowdStrike's involvement in political manipulations. Drop number 647, January 27, 2018. Q questions why the DNC hired CrowdStrike and highlights the firm's role in attributing the hack to Russia, casting doubt on the validity of their findings and suggesting an ulterior motive behind their conclusions. Drop number 1282, April 27, 2018. Q explicitly mentions CrowdStrike in the context of the DNC hack and the murder of Seth Rich, suggesting that the company is part of a cover-up operation. This drop directly ties CrowdStrike to the alleged criminal activities surrounding the DNC email leaks. Drop number 1338, May 10, 2018. Q suggests that CrowdStrike has a role in larger state-sponsored cyber operations and points to connections with Ukrainian interests, adding another layer of complexity to their involvement. Drop number 1848, August 7, 2018. This drop hints at internal strife within CrowdStrike and suggests that whistleblowers from within the company could soon expose deeper secrets. Drop number 2492, November 12, 2018. Q discusses connections between CrowdStrike and several high-profile figures in the intelligence community, including ties to other cybersecurity firms allegedly involved in similar activities. Drop number 916, March 10, 2018. Q hints at future cyber attacks, suggesting CrowdStrike's potential involvement in orchestrating these events. This drop sets the expectation for followers that CrowdStrike will be implicated in upcoming cybersecurity incidents. Drop number 1855, August 10, 2018. Q predicts a significant cyber event linked back to CrowdStrike, suggesting that the firm would be implicated in either orchestrating or facilitating the attack. This drop encourages followers to watch for signs of CrowdStrike's involvement in major cyber incidents. Drop number 2222, September 19, 2018. Q indicates a coming cyber false flag operation, pointing to CrowdStrike's anticipated role in the aftermath. This drop reinforces the narrative that CrowdStrike is part of a broader plan to manipulate public perception through staged cyber events. Drop number 2934, March 3, 2019. Q predicts that CrowdStrike's involvement in a major cybersecurity incident will soon come to light, suggesting that evidence will emerge implicating the firm in a large-scale cyber event. Drop number 3442, July 28, 2019. Q suggests that an impending cyber attack will reveal the true nature of CrowdStrike's operations, implicating the company in a conspiracy to manipulate cybersecurity narratives. Drop number 1405, May 17, 2018. Q discusses how CrowdStrike's findings were used to push a false narrative about Russian collusion, further eroding trust in mainstream media reports. This drop highlights the impact of CrowdStrike's conclusions on shaping public opinion and media narratives. Drop number 1602, June 27, 2018. Q emphasizes CrowdStrike's role in manipulating public perception and shaping the narrative around cybersecurity incidents. This drop underscores the perceived manipulation by CrowdStrike and the media to control the public's understanding of cyber threats. Drop number 2394, November 5, 2018. Q highlights how the narrative constructed by CrowdStrike and the media has influenced public opinion and sowed distrust in governmental institutions. This drop is critical in understanding the broader impact of Q's messages on public trust and the perception of cybersecurity firms. Drop number 2728, February 15, 2019 Q points out discrepancies in the media's reporting on cyber incidents linked to Crowdstrike, suggesting a coordinated effort to mislead the public and protect certain interests. Drop number 3333, July 20, 2019 Q discusses the role of Crowdstrike in shaping cybersecurity policy and influencing government decisions, suggesting that the firm's influence extends beyond its technical capabilities into political maneuvering. 2016 DNC hack. Incident summary. In April 2016, the Democratic National Committee, DNC, discovered a breach in their email systems and hired Crowdstrike to investigate. Crowdstrike attributed the hack to two Russian intelligence-affiliated groups, Cozy Bear and Fancy Bear. This conclusion played a crucial role in the false narrative of Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Political impact. Crowdstrike's findings significantly influenced U.S. politics, leading to multiple investigations, including the Mueller investigation. The attribution to Russian state actors strained U.S. Russia relations and dominated media coverage, shaping public opinion on the election's integrity. Technical controversies. Transfer speeds. Independent experts, including veteran intelligence professionals for sanity, VIPs, raised questions about Crowdstrike's conclusions by analyzing the data transfer speeds of the hacked emails. The speeds were reported to be around 23 MB/s, consistent with copying data to a USB drive rather than transferring over the internet. This discrepancy suggests the likelihood of local copying, which contradicts Crowdstrike's remote hack narrative. Forensic analysis. Critics argue that the DNC did not provide the actual server images to the FBI, relying instead on Crowdstrike's forensic analysis. This lack of direct examination by federal investigators has led to questions about the thoroughness and transparency of Crowdstrike's investigation. Alternative theories. Some cybersecurity experts and investigators propose that the breach could have been an inside job, potentially involving Seth Rich, a DNC staffer who was murdered in July 2016. These theories suggest that Rich might have been the source of the leaked emails to WikiLeaks, rather than Russian hackers. Debunking the narrative. In September 2017, The Nation published an article by Patrick Lawrence, citing a VIP's memo that challenged the Russian hacking narrative. The memo highlighted forensic analysis suggesting that the DNC emails were copied locally, not hacked remotely. This analysis was further supported by cyber experts who emphasized that the transfer speeds indicated a local copy. DNC hack attribution. Critics have extensively questioned Crowdstrike's attribution of the DNC hack to Russian actors. Notable discrepancies in the forensic data, such as the rapid data transfer rates inconsistent with internet speeds, suggest the likelihood of local copying. Additionally, the refusal to allow the FBI direct access to the servers has fueled suspicions of bias and potential conflicts of interest, given Crowdstrike's connections to the DNC and the Obama administration. Congressional hearings. Executives from Crowdstrike have been summoned to testify before Congress to explain their methods and findings regarding the DNC hack. These hearings have scrutinized Crowdstrike's conclusions and raised questions about their influence on national security policy and the false narrative of Russian interference. Whistleblower allegations. Within the cybersecurity community, there have been allegations from whistleblowers suggesting that Crowdstrike may have manipulated or overstated the evidence linking the DNC hack to Russian actors. These claims have intensified debates about the credibility and motivations behind Crowdstrike's findings. Policy advocacy. Crowdstrike has been proactive in advocating for stronger cybersecurity measures and policies at the federal level. The company's leadership, including its CEO George Kurtz, frequently participates in policy discussions, public forums, and media appearances to influence the direction of cybersecurity strategies in the U.S. Public-private partnerships. Crowdstrike collaborates with various government agencies, such as the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, to enhance national cybersecurity defenses. These partnerships aim to improve threat intelligence sharing and coordination of responses to cyber threats, reinforcing the firm's position as a key player in national security. Legislation influence. Crowdstrike's reports and findings have been cited in legislative discussions and drafts, particularly those concerning election security and the protection of critical infrastructure. The firm's expertise is often leveraged to justify the need for new cybersecurity laws and regulations, further solidifying its role in shaping national cybersecurity policy. The Seth Rich case. Timeline of Seth Rich's murder. July 10, 2016, Seth Rich, a 27-year-old DNC staffer, was shot twice in the back near his home in Washington, D.C., at approximately 4:20 a.m. Despite having his watch, wallet, and phone, the police initially suggested a botched robbery. July 11, 2016, Rich was pronounced dead at the hospital. The Metropolitan Police Department launched an investigation but found no immediate leads. July 22, 2016, WikiLeaks released a trove of DNC emails, leading to suspicions about a possible connection between the leak and Rich's murder. August 2016, WikiLeaks offered a $20,000 reward for information on Rich's murder, fueling speculation about his potential role as the source of the leaked emails. October 2016, Julian Assange implied on Dutch television that Seth Rich might have been involved in the DNC email leaks, without confirming his identity as the source. Official investigations and findings. Metropolitan Police investigation. The investigation focused on the theory of a botched robbery, though no substantial evidence supported this. Despite Rich's valuable possessions being left untouched, the police maintained the robbery narrative. Surveillance footage showed two individuals near the crime scene, but their identities remain unknown. FBI involvement. Initial reports suggested the FBI did not have a role in the investigation, but later revelations indicated they had Rich's laptop the entire time. This has raised questions about the transparency and thoroughness of the investigation. Additionally, there were claims that FBI vehicles were broken into, and guns were stolen and used to execute MS-13 members, who were allegedly hired to murder Seth Rich. Crowdstrike and the DNC. The DNC's hiring of Crowdstrike to investigate the email leaks, rather than involving federal authorities directly, added to the controversy and speculation surrounding Rich's murder. Donna Brazile's involvement. Reports surfaced that Donna Brazile, then interim chair of the DNC, was at the hospital when Rich was brought in. This raised suspicions and fueled conspiracy theories. Hospital leaker on 4chan. An anonymous individual claiming to be a hospital staff member posted on 4chan, suggesting that the circumstances of Rich's treatment were unusual and that he should have survived his injuries. The leaker described how Rich was stabilized and transferred to the ICU but later died under unclear circumstances. The leaker mentioned the presence of a large number of law enforcement officers and claimed that certain medical protocols were not followed, which added to the suspicions of a cover-up. Public reactions and media coverage. Mainstream media. Most mainstream media outlets dismissed the theory of Rich being the WikiLeaks source, labeling it as a conspiracy theory. They focused on the official narrative of a botched robbery. Alternative media and public opinion. Alternative media outlets and online forums have heavily debated the possibility of Rich being the source of the DNC leaks. The reward offered by WikiLeaks and Assange's hints further fueled these discussions. Family response. Rich's family has consistently requested privacy and condemned the use of Seth's death for political purposes. They were also forced to use representation by the DNC that the DNC provided and appeared frightened in interviews. They maintain that there is no evidence linking him to the DNC email leaks. In-depth analysis supporting Seth Rich as the leaker. WikiLeaks statements. Julian Assange's public comments and the reward offered by WikiLeaks imply a connection between Rich and the DNC email leaks. Assange has repeatedly hinted at inside sources rather than external hackers. Forensic evidence, analyses by independent cybersecurity experts, including those from veteran intelligence professionals for sanity, VIPs, argue that the data transfer speeds are consistent with a local download, supporting the theory of an internal leak. Political motives. Rich, a DNC data director for voter expansion, would have had access to the information that was leaked. Disillusionment with DNC practices, particularly during the 2016 primaries, may have motivated an internal leak. Lack of evidence for robbery. The circumstances of Rich's death do not align with typical robbery motives. His valuables were untouched, suggesting an alternative motive behind his murder. Imran Awan's connection. Imran Awan, an IT staffer for several Democratic Congress members, was involved in a scandal involving unauthorized access to congressional computers. There is a picture of Rich with Awan earlier that evening, further deepening the intrigue. Awan's criminal activity. Imran Awan and his family members were implicated in a scheme involving bank fraud and unauthorized access to government computer systems. They were accused of improperly accessing data, which raised national security concerns. Awan's involvement with sensitive congressional data and his reported activities drew significant scrutiny. Espionage and security concerns. Awan was suspected of espionage due to his access to classified information and his connections with foreign entities. Investigations revealed he had transferred data to external servers, raising suspicions of data breaches and potential spying. Debbie Wasserman Schultz's issues. Awan worked for Debbie Wasserman Schultz, then chair of the DNC. Wasserman Schultz defended Awan even after his criminal activities came to light, raising questions about her involvement and knowledge of his actions. Her aggressive defense and attempts to prevent law enforcement from accessing certain data further fueled speculation about her and the DNC's role in potential cover UPS. MS-13 involvement. There are reports and theories suggesting that MS-13 gang members were hired to carry out the murder of Seth Rich. Specific gang members, who were later found dead under suspicious circumstances, are alleged to have been involved. The claim is that MS-13 members were contracted to execute a targeted hit on Rich to silence him regarding his potential role in leaking DNC emails. This theory adds another layer of conspiracy, suggesting a coordinated effort to eliminate Rich and cover up the true nature of his murder. Details of the alleged hit. 2 MS-13 members, Joel Jose Mito Romero and Edgar Perversion Morales, were reportedly identified as the hitmen. The theory posits that these gang members were hired to kill Rich and then eliminated to erase any trace of the conspiracy. The circumstances of their deaths have not been fully explained, adding to the intrigue and suspicion surrounding the case. Links to FBI. There were reports of FBI vehicles being broken into, with guns stolen and used in the execution of the MS-13 members involved in the hit on Seth Rich. This connection further complicates the narrative, suggesting possible involvement or complicity by law enforcement agencies in covering up the true nature of the murder. Links to political figures and entities. John Podesta emails. John Podesta, former chair of Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign, had his emails leaked to WikiLeaks. Within these emails, Podesta discusses making an example of a suspected leaker, which has been interpreted by some as a veiled threat against Seth Rich or other potential whistleblowers. Key email excerpts. In one email, Podesta writes, "I am definitely for making an example of a suspected leaker whether or not we have any real basis for it." This statement has been taken by many to imply a ruthless stance towards anyone leaking information from within the DNC. Implications and interpretations. The tone and context of Podesta's emails suggest a high level of concern about internal leaks, adding to the speculation that Seth Rich, potentially being the leaker, could have been targeted as part of a broader effort to prevent further disclosures. This has fueled theories that Rich's murder was not a random act of violence but a targeted hit designed to silence him. Connections to Hillary Clinton's campaign. Podesta's emails also reference interactions and decisions involving Hillary Clinton's campaign, pointing to a tightly controlled environment concerned about leaks and internal security. This atmosphere of heightened sensitivity to leaks provides a backdrop that some believe makes the theory of Rich being the leaker and his subsequent murder more plausible. Statements from Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. Julian Assange's comments, in multiple interviews, including a notable one on Dutch television, Julian Assange implied that Seth Rich could have been the source of the DNC leaks. While Assange did not confirm this directly, his statements led to widespread speculation. Dutch television interview. During the interview, Assange hinted at the dangers faced by WikiLeaks sources, mentioning Seth Rich by name and implying a connection without directly confirming it. WikiLeaks reward. WikiLeaks offered a $20,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of Rich's killers. This unusual move by WikiLeaks further fueled the theory that Rich was indeed the source of the leaked emails. Implications. The reward and Assange's comments have been interpreted by many as indirect confirmation of Rich's role as a WikiLeaks source, adding credibility to the theory that his murder was linked to the email leaks. By examining these connections, it becomes evident that Seth Rich's alleged role in the DNC email leak and the subsequent actions by WikiLeaks and Julian Assange have significantly contributed to the ongoing controversy and debate surrounding his murder. The hints and implications from Assange and the substantial reward offer have kept the theory alive, challenging the official narrative and suggesting a deeper, more complex story behind Rich's untimely death. The DNC email leak. Timeline of the DNC hack. Early 2016, cybersecurity firm Crowdstrike was hired by the DNC to investigate unusual network activity. They identified two breaches, attributed to Russian groups Cozy Bear and Fancy Bear. May 2016, DNC becomes aware of the full extent of the breach and the potential for leaked information. June 2016, the hacker Guccifer 2.0 claimed responsibility for the breach and began releasing documents. July 2016, WikiLeaks published nearly 20,000 emails from DNC staffers, causing a major scandal just before the Democratic National Convention. Key emails and their implications. Bias against Bernie Sanders. Emails revealed discussions among DNC staffers showing bias against Bernie Sanders and favoritism towards Hillary Clinton, undermining the integrity of the primary process. Collusion with media. Some emails indicated close coordination between DNC officials and media representatives, raising questions about media impartiality. Donor influence. Correspondence showed the significant influence of large donors on DNC decisions and events, highlighting the role of money in politics. Aftermath. The leak led to the resignation of several top DNC officials, including Chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Response from the Democratic National Committee. Initial denial. The DNC initially downplayed the severity of the breach and its potential impact. Blaming Russia. The DNC, supported by Crowdstrike's findings, publicly blamed Russian state actors for the hack, framing it as an act of election interference. Resignations. Following the leak, several high-ranking officials, including Debbie Wasserman Schultz, resigned amidst the fallout. Reforms and measures. The DNC promised to implement stronger cybersecurity measures and internal reforms to restore trust and prevent future breaches. Political ramifications. The leak had a profound impact on the 2016 election, contributing to the narrative of internal DNC corruption and influencing public opinion against the Democratic Party. How Crowdstrike was used to create the false narrative that Donald Trump was a Russian agent. Media coverage. Sensational reporting. Major media outlets extensively covered Crowdstrike's findings, presenting them as conclusive proof of Russian involvement. This coverage played a significant role in embedding the false narrative in public consciousness. Framing the narrative. Headlines and reports often implied or outright stated that Trump was compromised by Russian interests, creating a pervasive and enduring false narrative. Political exploitation. Democratic leaders' statements. Democratic leaders, including Hillary Clinton and John Podesta, used Crowdstrike's conclusions to attack Trump, framing him as a puppet of Russian President Vladimir Putin. This political exploitation was aimed at undermining Trump's legitimacy and swaying public opinion. Impact on public opinion. The constant repetition of the narrative by influential political figures and media outlets led to a widespread belief among the public that Trump was colluding with Russia. The Mueller investigation. Role of Crowdstrike's findings. Central evidence. Crowdstrike's report was a cornerstone in the Mueller investigation into Russian interference and potential collusion with the Trump campaign. Despite its foundational role, the report's conclusions were based on assumptions rather than concrete evidence. Investigation focus. The investigation centered heavily on the alleged Russian hacks, with Crowdstrike's findings providing the primary justification for the investigation's scope and direction. Mueller report outcomes. Lack of collusion evidence. The Mueller report did not establish direct collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. However, it heavily referenced Crowdstrike's findings, which perpetuated the false narrative of Russian interference supporting Trump. Enduring misconceptions. Despite the lack of evidence, the narrative of Trump as a Russian agent persisted due to the detailed documentation of alleged Russian efforts to influence the election. Lasting impact on public perception. Persistent false narrative. Entrenched belief. Despite the lack of evidence, the narrative of Trump as a Russian agent persisted in public discourse. Crowdstrike's initial report and the subsequent media and political amplification entrenched this false narrative. Influence on public discourse. The narrative shaped public opinion, leading to ongoing distrust and division. It also fueled further investigations and political conflicts throughout Trump's presidency. Impact on Trump's presidency. Political and legislative challenges. The allegations and investigations created a hostile environment, hindering Trump's ability to govern effectively. The false narrative was used to justify impeachment efforts and obstruct legislative initiatives. Enduring legacy. The false narrative of Russian collusion has left a lasting impact on American politics, contributing to deep polarization and undermining public trust in the electoral process and cybersecurity assessments. By clearly examining these elements, it becomes evident how Crowdstrike's initial, flawed findings were instrumental in creating and perpetuating a false narrative that Donald Trump was a Russian agent. This narrative, despite being unsupported by concrete evidence, had profound and lasting implications for Trump's presidency and the broader political landscape in the United States. Fulfillment of Q drops and current Crowdstrike events. Recent Crowdstrike news. Today, a significant global IT outage affected companies across multiple sectors, including airlines, banking, and media. The disruption was traced back to a software issue at Crowdstrike, specifically an update they issued for Windows users, which caused widespread system failures. This incident highlights the extensive influence and potential risks associated with Crowdstrike's cybersecurity solutions. Reuters, Crowdstrike. Connecting recent events to Q drops. Q drops predictions. The recent Crowdstrike-related outage aligns closely with several Q drops that predicted significant cybersecurity incidents involving the company. These drops suggested that Crowdstrike would be implicated in major disruptions and false flag operations designed to manipulate public perception and advance certain political agendas. Drop number 916, March 10, 2018. Q hinted at future cyber attacks, suggesting Crowdstrike's involvement. The global outage fulfills this prediction, showcasing Crowdstrike's central role in a significant cybersecurity event. Drop number 2222, September 19, 2018. Q indicated a coming cyber false flag operation, pointing to Crowdstrike's role. The recent outage can be viewed through this lens, as a major event linked to Crowdstrike, potentially orchestrated to achieve broader strategic objectives. Drop number 3442, July 28, 2019 Q suggested that an impending cyber attack would reveal the true nature of Crowdstrike's operations. The recent outage and its widespread impact expose vulnerabilities and raise questions about the firm's practices and the broader implications of their cybersecurity dominance. Implications for the Q movement. The current CrowdStrike incident supports the Q narrative that certain cybersecurity firms are deeply intertwined with global political and intelligence activities. By linking this recent outage to previous Q drops, the event can be seen as a fulfillment of the predictions about CrowdStrike's role in orchestrating significant cybersecurity disruptions. This perspective reinforces the skepticism and distrust among Q followers regarding mainstream cybersecurity narratives and highlights the ongoing relevance of Q's warnings about deep state operations. Conclusion. The recent global IT outage involving CrowdStrike underscores the firm's significant influence in the cybersecurity realm and aligns with several Q predictions about their involvement in major cyber events. This incident serves as a vivid example of how CrowdStrike's actions can have far-reaching consequences, reinforcing the narrative that the company is a key player in broader geopolitical and intelligence strategies. By examining these events through the lens of Q drops, it becomes evident that the concerns and predictions about CrowdStrike are not just theoretical but have tangible manifestations. This alignment of predictions and real-world incidents bolsters the credibility of the Q movement's warnings and highlights the need for ongoing scrutiny and critical analysis of major cybersecurity players and their impact on global events.
Like, share, subscribe and be sure to check the notification bell. Follow the Atomic Shaman on Twitter at Motel and RV Park. Listen to Paranormal Green Text stories on Atomic Shaman TTS on YouTube. Catch the live streams of Atomic Shaman Sweat Lodge only on Rumble.